today is Justin Harrison with Premier Equity Group and Buy Direct Birmingham. We've done 3 of these now with Justin. We've had extremely good responses to Justin's model. So we're going to get with Justin in about 10 or 12 slides. I'm going to do just a short presentation, talk a little bit about the current state of the real estate market, what's kind of going on out there. We're going to take questions at the end of today's webinar. So at the conclusion of the webinar, we will take questions. If you look to the right of your screen, you have a dashboard there. And on that dashboard down towards the bottom, you see a button that says questions. If you just click on that little button, a box will pop up. You can type your questions into that little box. So we'll do that at the conclusion of today's webinar. You're free to type those in wherever you'd like, and at the conclusion, we'll open it up and we'll take questions. So just some updates on what's going on in the housing market. This is Case-Shiller one-year price gains in certain markets. This is through March of this past year of 2013. You see some of the markets have gone up. Phoenix 22, San Francisco 22. The market that Justin is focused in is Birmingham, up 17.1% from 2012 to 2013. This was actually out of the Orange County Register. This article saying home prices are up double digits, big deal. They're still way below previous peak, and that really says a lot about the market. What we're seeing really out there right now is even though we are seeing double-digit increases in terms of value of homes, we're still not seeing a slowdown in terms of people buying. The interest out there is still very strong to buy homes. We'll talk a little bit about some of the different groups that are now buying in this market. Yes, it was bound to happen eventually. Interest rates were bound to go up eventually at some point. I just pulled this off the internet just last week. 30-year fixed-rate home loans spiked 0.5% in June last year. That's the highest increase in a week that we've seen in 26 years. That's a pretty big jump for 1 week. Now, I've heard a lot of different people talk about this is the reason why we saw a decrease of offers on homes in June. There was fewer offers made on homes in June than in any month for the last 18 months. And people were citing this as the reason. I don't believe that to be true. The bulk of the buying that's still going on in the investment real estate market is still being purchased by hedge funds, real estate investment trusts, these sort of larger institutional type of investors are really the ones that are buying the bulk of this real estate, and they don't finance. They don't rely upon interest rates. These are all cash buys. And so I don't believe that to be true. I think there's other factors as to why you saw a downturn in offers being made on homes. I think there was a number of variables for it, but it certainly wasn't interest rates. But we did finally see a spike in June of interest rates. National Association of Realtors, something that I follow fairly consistently, talking about home prices jumping more than 9% in 2012, which is the largest increase in 5 years. And home inventory levels hit a 5-year low in December 2012. Now, I will tell you that in the first 6 months of this year, that trend continues. Inventory, available inventory, quality inventory has changed dramatically. And there's a reason for that, and there's a number of factors that go into that. But primarily, it's just that you have so many funds now buying homes off market that a lot of the inventory isn't even hitting the MLS. Now, what Justin's going to be showing us today is a model that's quite unique, and as the market sort of changes, I think Justin's model is a model that is you as a potential investor should look closely at, because it's a model that's going to allow you to buy inventory that Justin gets access to that you would not normally have access to, and buy that inventory at deeply discounted prices. Again, National Association of Realtors, 84% of agents believe that real estate values and number of transactions will increase in 2013, and 77% believe that new construction will continue to increase. I love this next one. 74% believe their local economy will improve in 2013 compared to 2012. You all may have seen the report that came out just last week about the month of June, the federal government seeing the largest surplus it's seen in any 1 month since 2002. Pretty clear now that the economy is recovering. Certainly that's got something to do with the housing market. Certainly the housing market, as it improves, sort of drags the whole economy along with it for a whole lot of reasons. People are working, doing rehab work on homes. Home Depot's busier selling their products. Certainly there's more activity in the housing market. The rental market is stronger than it's ever been in our country. So there's a lot of reasons why we're seeing that. But the bottom line is there is some optimism, true optimism within the economy in 2013. And then no market's expected to see a decline in home values or real estate transactions in 2013, where you saw 1/3 of the market see declines in 2012. I've sort of alluded to this a couple of times now, but as a real estate investor, you need to know that you have company in this space. Real estate investment trusts, hedge funds, institutional buyers are investing heavily in real estate. And the reason they're doing this is really not a whole lot different than why you would invest in real estate, investment real estate. It's a simple thing. You're still able to buy below market value. There's monthly cash flow that goes along with turnkey real estate. If you buy properly and you buy from a group that has experience working in that particular market, there's certainly some tax benefits. If you're, consult with your financial planner about that. There may be some benefits to you from a tax perspective. So hedge funds are really sort of no different. They see housing as a commodity. They see it to be less risky than being in some aspects of the market. They see it to be something that not only throws off cash flow, but more importantly, they're buying in a market that's appreciating. And so hedge funds are in the market. We believe it sort of started when Warren Buffett was interviewed on CNBC about 15, 16 months ago, and they asked him the question, what do you feel about investing in single-family homes? And he said, well, I would buy millions of single-family homes if it were practical, but I'm not very handy, and that's sort of a quote. But what he was essentially saying was that, if you have the ability to partner with somebody that knows how to find the right property, do the rehab work, provide the renter, install the renter, collect the monthly rents, and take care of all the little problems that happen along the way, if you can do that, he'd buy millions of them. And of course, Warren Buffett didn't just say that. He then went out and bought Prudential Real Estate. So now he is heavily invested in the real estate market himself. Blackstone is the 300-pound gorilla. Those who don't know what Blackstone's up to these days, I just pulled this off just last week. This was a New York Times article, no, CNBC, excuse me. But this was Jonathan Gray asked about the housing market. He says, no, we're not done yet. Blackstone's strategy is to isolate key markets for growth, renovate properties, and then lease them out. Long-term, it's a long-term business. And that's sort of the strategy that we believe is the best strategy, is a long-term buy and hold. Now, there's been times in this market where the buy and flip was a good strategy, and that can still be a good strategy as well, but we still believe that the buy and hold strategy, not unlike Blackstone, feels that that's the best strategy to be in the market for a longer period of time. And so one of the things, we had to ask ourselves was, well, is this good or bad? What's this mean for the small investor? What's it mean for the smaller, specialized real estate company, which Buy Direct Birmingham is? It's a specialized REO company. What does it mean? What advantages or disadvantages does it make? And in actuality, it's a good thing. And I pulled this article off the internet really about the beginning of the year, and it talked about, why you should hug a hedge fund buyer and why it's good these folks are in the marketplace. And it cited 5 reasons, and I pulled 3 of them off that I thought were relevant. But before I go into this, we work with the hedge funds. One thing I want to point out about the hedge funds is that they are reliant upon the specialized groups like the Justin Harrisons as much as the small investor is. They need that person on the ground that knows the market, that's close to the opportunities, that gets off-market inventory available to them, that has people that can do rehab at cost-effective rates, that have the ability to manage the property. The hedge funds are no different than the private investor. They're just larger. They have deeper pockets. But these are the 3 reasons that I thought were relevant. Number one, the hedge funds are driving up prices. There's no question about that. They're not shy to buy something at or above asking price. And why, if you ask them? They'll tell you because it's still below market value. So even if you're buying at asking price, that doesn't necessarily mean you're buying over market value. It just means that you're still getting a very good discount. It just means you're being competitive in the marketplace. The second thing is they're buying undesirable homes. In other words, they're buying properties that wouldn't otherwise be occupied, homes that have been vacant for 3, 4, 5 years. They go in, they buy those properties. They'll do some rehab work, put a renter in. That raises the value of the entire neighborhood. And then finally, and I think probably the number one reason, is that it provides an aftermarket. If you buy a property in this market today and you have an event that occurs that would cause you to want to sell that home in 6 months or a year, you lose your job or your son needs money for college, you have some sort of a hardship situation, you got hedge funds to buy the properties from you. So it's not as if there isn't buyers out there. There's plenty of buyers out there. I pulled this off CNBC over a year ago. I still think it's relevant. It's actually sort of prophetic at this point, too. But it talks about, while home prices haven't hit bottom nationally, yet demand is starting to grow. Well, I can tell you that in July of 2013, we are no longer at the bottom of the market. This market's recovering. I don't think I've read a statistic in the last couple months, at least, that even pointed remotely to there being a downturn in the value of real estate. Prices are going back up. Demand did grow. It grew to a point where you saw these institutional buyers come into the market and buy a properties in record numbers. In 2013, hedge funds have committed $9 billion to buy single-family homes. It talks about markets at the low end of the market. We've talked about that a lot. Clearly, the lower end of the market, the homes that are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, we believe is where the market lies. That's where the hedge funds buy as well. And then it just talks about, larger investors getting into the market. We've certainly seen that. And then how do individual investors without cash lying around get in? The answer is retirement funds. We'll have another one of these webinars on Thursday with AccuPlan, who's a third-party administrator, be talking about retirement funds, how you can use those retirement funds to invest in cash-flowing real estate. That's Thursday at 12 noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern time. If you're interested, I'll send you the link to that webinar. About a month ago, I had my first experience dealing with the Chinese. We always do the Chinese investors. We're in the real estate market, but generally they've been in hospitality and commercial. They never really sort of dabbled in the single-family residence market, but they are now. They recognize the money is in that. They invested $500 million, in Blackstone. So they are also an aggressive buyer, looking to, again, capitalize on what many still see is an opportunistic market. Birmingham is Justin's market, and I took this off the New York Times about a month ago, just about a month ago now, and I learned things from reading this article. If anybody would like to link to it, I actually sent this out to several folks last week. It's a really good article. It talks about how Birmingham was once a steel town, now it's more of a medical and financial city. Talks about the revitalization of the downtown area. Justin's going to talk about that in length. The baseball stadium that houses the Birmingham Barons, the team that Michael Jordan once played for, minor league baseball for, has now moved that stadium into the downtown district. But the whole area, just talked about the whole area becoming just kind of a hot spot. Bars, restaurants, Zagat-rated fine food. The whole downtown area has been revitalized now. Birmingham is actually the 9th largest city in the country. Most people don't know that. Some statistics on Birmingham, and Justin's going to get into this in just a moment here with a lot more detail, but you saw February residential sales in Birmingham were up 2.8%. Notice this chart here. The green lines represents home values. The red line represents inventory. So you see the home values peaked 2006 and 7, then you saw the gradual decline after the bubble burst and the collapse of the housing market right in 2008 through 2011. And then in 12, you started to see a climb. But notice how home inventory, obviously very low when the market was high, and then of course as the markets got worse, the inventory levels really spiked. But you notice now prices are on the rise, but inventory levels are on the decline, which is all the more reason what Justin's about to present makes a lot of sense. If you're looking for to invest in the housing market, I think Justin's going to provide a very, very powerful solution to doing that at, again, deeply discounted prices. So with that, I'm going to open up Justin's microphone. Justin, I want to thank you for being here today. I'll let you take it from here. We're going to hand Justin the controls while we do that. Again, just want to remind folks that we'll take questions at the conclusion of today's webinar. So again, feel free to type your questions into that chat box to the right of your screen there, and Justin and I will answer those questions at the conclusion. So Justin, I want to thank you for being here today.
Charlie?
Yep, we got you now, Justin.
Okay. I had to establish a pin there. Okay.
And you should have the controls, Justin.
Okay. Just got that handled. Okay. My name is Justin Harrison. I appreciate being on the call today. I'm a local real estate investor in Birmingham, Alabama. Our company specializes in turnkey investment properties. That's a buzzword that's been used for, going on, 10 years now with out-of-state investors and out-of-country investors wanting that turnkey provider. So back in 2005, about 8 years ago, we were contacted by a couple of different groups to start working with us because we were reputable investors in our area and they wanted our market. There is a very high demand in all aspects, from the individuals to the conglomerates to the hedge funds to the Australians to the Chinese, in wanting our area. Birmingham has been on the scene as one of the top investment towns for a number of years since the downturn. Just a quick slide about myself. I was originally a CPA with Arthur Andersen, and I was accountant. Started working, doing a little real estate here and there. My family was in real estate. My mom was a builder, and my dad was he owned and operated one of the largest air conditioning companies in the Southeast. We formed Premier Equity Group in 2005. Was our flagship company. Probably the largest provider of single-family investment properties to out-of-state investors in the Birmingham area. Through the downturn, the worse the economy did, the better our company did. Through hundreds of houses, we've kind of developed some mentalities, some MOs, some different ways of doing business, different business models. And one of the things that I've been real passionate about is one of our new approaches, which is Buy Direct Birmingham. It's a way for a real estate investor to buy direct using our resources that we've developed over the last 7 to 8 to 10 years through our Premier Equity Group buying power, through my channels of being a real estate investor. I am bringing in the investor and letting them buy direct. So instead of Premier Equity Group buying the property, renovating the property, holding costs, acquisition costs, we're going straight to the source and cutting our business model to be very lean. And what it's doing is getting the investor into a basis that no vendor can duplicate. We're able to get the investor in direct, and we handle renovations and the whole turnkey concept, but it's a different approach to where we have lower bases. All right, Charlotte, I'm trying to get to my next slide here.
If you're having problems turning the page, click your mouse on the screen. It'll let you turn it.
Got it. Okay. Sorry for that glitch. Okay. So just picking back up, a little overview on Birmingham, real quick. We want to get to the point with our Buy Direct Birmingham model and what we're trying to accomplish with the lower basis model, the buying direct, going straight to REO outlets, private sellers here, short sales, a lot of different avenues to buy direct. Birmingham's been on the scene for a while. Charlie said we're one of the, I guess, the 9th largest city, 10th best overall real estate market by CNN Money, 3rd fastest real estate market in the nation. Cash flow has been one of the big things about the Southeast, whether it be Jackson, Mississippi, Memphis, Atlanta, some of the southeastern cities. Our price points are just very attractive in relation to our taxes and our rent and all the aspects that go into an ROI and a cash flow. We're always in the top 10 when it comes to cash flow. And then when you couple the revitalization efforts and all of the different influxes of money into our market, it's really interesting to see the entertainment districts, some of the revitalization projects here. The project on the right was some of the groundwork of the Barron Stadium, which is a minor league ballpark, a downtown park on the left. Just the amount of interest from outside commercial developers, loft districts, entertainment districts. We have a huge medical center downtown. You can see it off to the right, some of the buildings to the top of where this baseball stadium sits. Those buildings off to the right, that's the UAB, the University of Alabama Medical Center. They cover half of downtown. It's pretty remarkable to see what they do. They have about 60,000 jobs for the Birmingham market. So not only in the last 6 or 8 years of intense investing with out-of-state investors, we're seeing this transformation of revitalization of the big commercial companies coming in and overhauling downtown, which is ultimately going to drive the attraction and the property values up in our town. So we feel pretty blessed to be where we're located. So we have Premier Equity Group. We bought and sold several hundred houses. I lose track of that number, somewhere between 350, 400 houses with our affiliate groups over the last couple of years. So we've done a large volume of houses, which has allowed us to home in on our craft, our skill, quality house selection, dialing into being in the right neighborhood, having a renovation that creates a good performing product, doing the renovation right. Property management, we'll touch on that in a minute. You really got to have good property management. We have brought that in-house. My management team sits in my office with me. Birmingham, with all the positives that we've talked about, has created one of the better rental markets. We really don't have a problem renting houses. For the quality of the product you're about to see, there's a waiting list, not only for our renters but also for our buyers. So we have a very good situation with the demand. It's hard to meet up with not only the rental demand but also the buying demand. We typically are on a waiting list for our product. Something you'll get from me is the continued service aspect. My MO is I'll sell a house and say good luck. I hope you do well. I'm with you long after the sale. I think that's translated into to a good business model, business environment for my investors to be with them when they have some issues with their properties, and that happens from time to time. One of the biggest things that we're going to provide with Buy Direct Birmingham is house selection. We've always done the different things of curb appeal, finding the right house that's stable, that has good bones. Typically, we've sold houses from $50,000 to $70,000. In a few slides later, I'm going to show you where buying direct will get that number down. You'll get some bases that my competitors here in Birmingham and other markets, they just can't touch, because we're cutting out all of the vendor costs that they usually they acquire during a transaction. So we're going to focus a little bit on house selection. That's one of the primary ways that we provide value, is getting you that initial good deal. Getting the house renovated and doing the property management aspects are great too, but we really got to do a good job on house selection. Being in good, stable neighborhoods. This is a picture of a school that's in our primary neighborhood. That's Huffman High School. They're they're building these large mega high schools that look like colleges, and it's attracting better teachers. It's giving the students a facelift to go into a good quality school. They're brand new. It's got to help in the long term with the overall aspect of our education here. So that's just an example of a school in an area where we're providing our rental properties. And when you see some of the examples of the product that we have, you'll see some of the quality houses. In-house property management, real quick, we can go in great detail on property management, but we're gonna get to our point of Buy Direct today. But we have all the bells and whistles with the online software. We're licensed and registered with the Real Estate Commission. We have a web-based product for software. You have an online statement, direct draft deposits. Very good leasing team, just all the aspects you need for a good property management team. We felt like we dialed that in over the years. So without good property management, you're stuck in the sand without good property management. So we put a great intense approach at property management. We talked a little bit about the rental market, the jobs, the industries, everything that's going on downtown that attributes to that. A couple of examples of what you're going to start seeing. These are our exterior looks at houses. It's a good solid brick house on the right, nice 4-bedroom on the left, good solid lots. Our neighborhoods require that our tenants keep their yards cut. They're responsible for that. We're in neighborhoods where you have a lot of home ownership and a lot of retail sales. So our tenants, they can't be the shabby house on the street because the neighborhood watch associations or they'll call the city. So they really require our properties to be maintained properly because we're in a better tier area. So we're in a middle tier area, middle class area. I don't have any areas where we have a bunch of boarded up houses or people walking the streets or people hanging out on the front porch. You know, it's just people are going to work in our areas, and I've been in the lower tier, what I call the junker model properties, and they have good returns on the face, but I'd rather pay a little bit more and get a nicer house, something that you can be proud to own, and something that that you got a little less risk value. A couple other examples of some properties that we've done. Again, these are houses that we've sold anywhere from 58 to 65,000, even 70. I'll show you some examples, but buying direct is going to undercut those values. Interior renovations, you know, we can renovate a house just about any way that you like. Buying direct, you're going to buy the property direct, and then we're going to perform a renovation for you. So if you want nice tile, or you want linoleum, or you want brand new air conditioning, we'll be able to form a scope of work that is in line for what you want. I have a kind of a minimum standard of work I want to do. We want our houses to be crisp and clean. These are some interior renovations of rental property. So this is what our rental houses look like. I use two-tone paint schemes, new fans, plugs, switches. I want the tenants to walk into a nice house, something that they can say, these guys mean business. They have a nice product. I know they're going to require me to keep this property nice. We're not in the junker model or the slumlord business. We're in the nice property business. I like that we buy ugly houses, but I've also said I want to be the we buy nice houses, or we provide nice houses. So anyways, there's some different renovation pictures. This is our kind of our flyer format that shows buying direct usually saves you anywhere between $10,000 upwards to $15,000 of savings per transaction. We do a lot of different things. You can buy direct for rent and hold. We do some fix and flip retails. But the kind of the caption is Buy Direct Birmingham, cut out vendor cost. I'm a vendor. I've been one of the largest vendors of investment properties in Birmingham, and I'm really cutting my own model. But I feel in my heart it's the best way to do it, because we're going to get you in houses at lower basis. You're going to have better returns. It's a safer way of doing business. So here's just a brief summary on the model. You can read into this a little more depth. We're rolling out this new model. We've been working on it for a couple of weeks. It's all the concepts of the turnkey model that all vendors provide, except for instead of me buying the property, renovating it, and selling it to you, you're going to be set up with our agents. You're going to be set up with our house sellers. I'm going to basically set up the deal and present it to you with a rehab budget, and what we have a set fee for what we do for our work. We'll go into that in a few minutes. But instead of you paying $55 to $65, you're going to be paying $40, $45, and $50 for some pretty nice houses, which our competition in other markets just can't compete with. We're going to have a very lean model, and with some of the aspects that Charlie alluded to with the hedge funds and other conglomerates coming in, we have to stay lean in order to accomplish some of our goals of getting good quality property. So typical renovation, you're basically going to come in and take title. You have no obligation to us until you actually buy a property. So we have to perform before you ever buy anything or put up any money. We're basically going to get a house under contract for you. We're going to renovate it for you. We're going to allow you to use our management company, and we have a consulting fee. You see at the bottom, our fee is $9,000. That's set. No matter what type of deal we get, the better deal we get, the savings is passed on to the investor. If I pick up a house for $22,000 and we have to put $8 into it, that's $30. Our fee is $9. That's $39,000. At one point in time, I may have sold a house for $55. So we have a $16,000 savings under the Buy Direct model. Sometimes deals are tighter. All of the deals are going to be good. They're going to be no-brainers. They're going to be such low bases because we're so lean. We've capped our profits. We have a very clean model. We'll set up your entity if we need to. We can bid straight in your name. We can set up an LLC. My background is a CPA. I can assist you with plans, taxes, a lot of different aspects that go into how I earn my fee, my fund. I primarily make our fee on the purchase alone. If you were to come into our market, you may pay $48,000 for a house. I may get it for 32. I bought hundreds of houses. My value is in the house selection. I'm going to beat anybody's purchase price that they try to get on average. We just are very entrenched in our markets. I buy a lot of properties. I have people, 10 to 12 people out looking for properties for me daily. They lock contracts down. I pass it on to investors, and we set up a buy direct approach. We have a detailed photo gallery we provide when we pitch a property to you. My CPA background always brings me to transparency. You know exactly what we're picking up the property for. You know exactly what the budget is. I give you a line-by-line budget, paint, flooring, electrical, plumbing, all the different things we need to get the house to the turnkey approach. So we're still doing the turnkey, all the things that we normally do, except for you're buying direct. You're going to be working with my local agent. You're going to be working with, when I lock a property down with one of my local house hunters, we're going to slide you right into that position. So you're buying direct. You're getting clear title on the property. You have insurance, all the things to make your investment sound. We don't do anything halfway. We have everything with the closing attorneys, insured, title insurance, property insurance. Our management company's licensed and registered. So in our day and age, we just have to have all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So on average, I feel like we're always going to save around $10,000 under Buy Direct. Sometimes it's been $15,000, $18,000. But we're eliminating the double closing costs. We're eliminating the acquisition costs. We're eliminating flip-type transactions or big-time buying and marketing fees and holding costs and all the different things. You're buying direct, and it creates a basis position that is more attractive than we've ever been able to offer. So instead of paying $58,000 for a house, I want to get you in there at $45,000. $58,000 to $45,000. You think about it for a minute. We can absorb a lot of problems if we had any. I don't want to have any, but there is an absorption ratio that we have when you get such a low basis. And to eliminate risk, to reduce risk, everything is home inspected. I'm big on inspections, whether I need one from the city, whether I need one from HUD, whether I need one. I'm going to get a home inspection on every single property. Some people kind of shy away from home inspections. I won't do business with you unless you get a home inspection. Just as simple as that. It covers you. It covers me. And that should be a testament for the way we do business. Some investors are like, oh, crap, man, this buyer wants a home inspection. I'm like, no, we're getting one. It's just I want to make sure the house is working. I don't want to create a problem for myself. I don't want to create a problem for you. So that's just the way we're built. We're going to be doing a good job. We're going to cover the house from top to bottom. And you know, that just goes into what we do. All right, this slide is a typical house in our market that, let me get this out of the way. Nice little rancher, good solid structure. You know, it's a 3-2 hardwood floors. This house, I believe we sold for $56,000, so I'm showing this as an example of a sale. This house has gone as high as $62,500 in our market. We did a renovation on the property, rented the property out at $800. Let's take a brief moment to look at Birmingham takeouts. Property management fee, of course, which is 9%. Insurance runs about $600 for most any of our investments. You can get cheaper insurance, but that's a good average. You can get actual cash value, which is much cheaper. Property taxes typically run about $1,000 for the year. They can be anywhere from $800 to $1,100. You can protest your taxes. You're going to be picking up a property for $32,000, renovating it, so you can go to the tax assessor's office and protest once a year and get property taxes to be lower. So we're always looking for an edge. But just under this quick analysis, you have net operating income on this particular property monthly of $600. On a $56,000 sales price, that gives you a cash-on-cash return of 12.86%. That's a pretty healthy return with a new renovation, a new tenant, whether we use one of the housing authorities or one of the cash tenant options that we have. That particular house, which is not too far from the brand new school that I showed you, Typically going to be in the mid-60s, be as high as 60,000. So that's the type of returns that we have in Birmingham. 55, 800 rents. The takeouts you see on the right. So when you're working your numbers and trying to get a feel for what I do and the style of property, the quality of property, this is what we're looking at. Examples of some of the houses. I believe that picture that we're looking at was a pre-rehab photo. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is upgrades, cosmetics to get that crisp property. So we're starting out with a good product. Let's see. Let's go to the next slide. All right. If we convert this property, same property we've been looking at, to the Buy Direct. We buy REO straight from Bank of America. We use our local agent. We slide you in, get you pre-approved. We get you set up with my agent. We get your proof of funds. You're not obligated until you land a deal. So we're going to be showing you listings and different things. I may bring a private sale to you that somebody's doing a short sale. We picked this particular REO as a foreclosure for $28,000. The rehab was $11K. If we had a Buy Direct Birmingham fee for $9,000, you'd get into this property for $48,000. So from the difference between our $56,000 actual sales price, you'd have an $8,000 reduction in basis under this new model. So that's what we're all about, is reducing basis. And ultimately, same takeouts. You look there at the bottom, we've got that return up to 15%. So it just makes these deals more and more attractive. You're in the property at a lower and lower basis. 48 is a lot more attractive than 56. Nobody's going to dispute that. I don't know if my competitors can beat 48. I don't know if they're even willing to try. But even in any other markets, with an 800 rent, I've got some sellers out there that may sell this house for 68. So their mentalities are to max out some of the investors. My mentality is to try to get them in the houses at the lowest basis. I'm on the complete opposite end of the spectrum because I understand what 300 or 400 houses sell. I've seen all types of transactions, and lower basis is the only way to go. You need to be doing transactions that get you in the property with less and less out-of-pocket cash. You want to buy cash, and you want to have lower basis. You don't want to get taxed is, I guess, the way to put it. I'm looking at a way to stay lean, to cap our profits, and to get you in the property cheaper than I've ever done before. So I just feel in my heart that this is a future model that is taking traction, and we're starting to get a waiting list for this model. Another example, I've just kind of set this up at $56,000 sales price. This is the full brick, very nice house, hardwood floors throughout. Another clean house, street. They just keep the yards manicured, good flat lot, good bones, brick, hardwoods, good roof, solid house. Really got a good deal on a full brick house at $25,000. Rehab was primarily cosmetic with some HVAC work, around $8K. Very good structure. Rent this house in the first week or two. Great quiet street. With our fee, total investment of $42,000. So here you're starting to look at a significant savings of $14,000 buying direct. Similar takeout on the right gets you to a cash-on-cash return up to 17%. I've never been able to provide a return that gets up into the 17s. You factor in the tax consequences, the depreciation, your write-off. Man, you're starting to get over 20% cash-on-cash return. That's rarefied air. You just can't get that. I can present you some properties maybe in some of the junker areas, the lower model houses, that, yeah, you can get some really cheap houses that on the face have 22, 23% returns. I can give you some 29% returns in Detroit. But, man, you're buying in some tough areas, and that's not what we're doing. We're buying some nice houses in some nice areas, and we're doing it in a lean and mean concept. So that's basically the summary of what we're about, is to get this total investment to a very low price and to find a way to get you in a house with a minimal out-of-pocket and to give you some options, some exits, some different things that you can do with the property. You'd be able to sell this to an investor in your area. I don't know if you'd want to. You want to continue to stockpile these houses at these low bases. Here's another example of a house that we bought. We actually bought it for more of a Buy Direct model, but we got midway in and it turned into a joint venture. It was such a nice house that we picked up. It was all in investment with our fee included of about $53,000. Normally it was sold it for $67,500. We got midway into it, and we had so much traction on the house that we got a retail sales price for $89,900. We walked away with $12,000 or $13,000 a piece, and we were looking for our next deal. So that was pretty cool. This house would rent for $850 to $900. We didn't rent it; we sold it. We have a homeowner that came in with a mortgage and bought the property. So I did show the examples of how Buy Direct can save you money with this particular example. Also, Buy Direct gives us a lot of flexibility. So this house would have generated a 14% return if you would have rented it, but the cash-on-cash return of the I hadn't really calculated it, but if you take out our fee, we had about $45,000 in this property, $44,000. Man, we really did well on this retail. We netted about $72,000. So I believe ran about $15,000 a piece for each investor, and was pretty cool to be able to do that for an investor, and they're turning right around and looking for their next property. So this gives us some flexibility if we pick. It'll allow us, Buying Direct allows us to go into a lot of different markets. We can buy a $70,000 house. We can buy an $8,000 house. I try to shy away from the what I call the junker houses, but I just like these, something to be proud of. And if I can get you an affordable basis, you can buy this nicer house and have a lot less problems. This is a house that we have available. It's a really good house, has all new windows, was remodeled in 2010, 2011, has a brand new metal roof, has a 2 or 3 year old air conditioning system, has a one-car garage. This house will rent within 2 or 3 weeks at $800. I currently can get you into the property, Buying Direct, this house right now for $32,000. That's what I have it under contract for. Then I estimate that I want to upgrade this house, really probably only needs about $4K in repair. But when we bring our home inspector in, he's going to want the GFIs in the kitchens and baths and the different safety features and making sure we got insulation and all the things that we want to get the tightest house possible. So let's say we got $6K in renovation with our fee, runs us about $47,000. This easily sells in this area for about $58,000 to the investor, which Buying Direct, $47,000, that's going to save $11,000. I don't have to buy this house, bring in my private lenders, get insurance, double closing costs, the marketing channels that I go through, having it on my inventory, overhead, the different components that go into running our business. I'm going to get this straight to the investor. I'm not going to buy it. The investor is going to slide into my contract. And in doing so, we're going to be able to get them in a basis of $47,000 for a house that was almost extremely renovated in 2010. Rarely are we going to find a house with all new windows and a metal roof. That's, I believe, a lifetime roof. But I need to trim some trees, trim some bushes, touch some things up. We're going to make it a little more catchy from the front. But going around the left side of this house, we have a one-car garage, a big concreted basement, and looking at the takeouts, it's a 3-bedroom. We're going to get the $800 rent, very similar takeouts as the other property, which is going to get us a 15, almost 15.5% return. That rent is very conservative. I believe that's a good market rent, so we won't have any issues getting a cash tenant for that price or a Section 8 tenant. These are the nicest houses that a Section 8 tenant is going to be able to be involved with. All of our Section 8 tenants, if we so desire to go that route, in order for them to get an 800 rent, they have to have a job. So I don't have any Section 8 tenants that don't work. They all work, so they're not staying in our houses all day. They actually have, some of them have nicer furniture and cars than I do. It's kind of amazing the way they operate. So they are able to work, and the government subsidizes, maybe it's 600 and the tenant pays 200. So we work the housing programs. A lot of people like that guaranteed rent analysis. But this is a house we have available. I've got 2 or 3 examples that I'm getting ready to roll out to all of our interested parties in the Buy Direct Birmingham model. I'm going to start presenting a house just like this, that you can get it for $32. You're going to take title. You're going to work with our closing attorneys. We're going to help you get insurance. We're going to get you a rehab budget. We're going to get you set up with the management company, all the turnkey aspects, but you're buying direct. I'm not going to buy this house and then sell it for $58. Now, if I do buy it, I'm going to sell it for $58 under Premier Equity Group. That's just what we do. I still do that, but we're offering to Charlie's group this kind of, right now it's been pretty exclusive with with working on these webinars and providing an outlet for this Buy Direct company to kind of take off, and we really want to gain some traction. I'm already starting to feel like we're going to be in 30 to 60 days. We're going to be in that waiting mode where you're going to be on the queue for the next property, and I'm going to be pitching it to you, and you can make a decision whether you want to buy it or not. So one of the questions we're going to get are you obligated to anything? No. If you want to enter into this contract for $32,000, yeah, we start going through the motions at that point, doing our due diligence, getting our home inspection. And in turn, you're going to pay $6,000 for renovation, and you're going to pay me for buying this great deal, and for renovating the house, and for setting it up with property management, and doing things I do. And that's basically the summary of what Buy Direct Birmingham does. We get direct, we cut a lot of costs out, we get you in a low basis, still providing the turnkey aspects. Here's Charlie and I's phone numbers and email addresses. Feel free to contact us. Charlie, if you want to get to some question and answer, I'll be glad to get into that.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, so much. That was an excellent presentation. We've had a couple questions in the queue since we really got. One is relating to fees if we pay a referral fee. We do have a referral fee program. If you're interested in referring people to us, just contact me and I can kind of go over with you what we're willing to pay for a referral. For those that are asking about the webinar being recorded, it is recorded. We typically always send it out to everyone that's on the webinar at the conclusion of the webinar. So when we're finished, we will send a recording out both to everyone that's on today's call as well as those who weren't able to make it. The next question we have, Justin, which is directed at you, and that is, do you accept IRA funds or self-directed IRA monies? I think the answer to that's yes, but go ahead.
Yes, it's the most popular way to invest right now. A large majority of investors locally and abroad are rolling their IRAs into self-directed and buying real estate in multiple capacities. So probably one of the, not only is the turnkey model and buying out of state become a phenomenon, the next phenomenon or the past phenomenon or the current phenomenon is the increased level of investors buying out of their IRA because they're simply they can't get this type of return in their IRAs typically, pick up this equity. I didn't touch much on equity. I usually don't. I'm more basis driven. So you're picking up great basis, but I'd say certainly you're picking up some equity, cash flow, return, after-tax benefits, multiple reasons to invest in real estate if you invest in real estate right. And that's why I feel strong about what we're doing here with Buy Direct Birmingham. I think we can get to all investors will feel like they're buying right because they're buying direct. And I just know in my heart that this is a sound way to do it. There's so many so many goofy transactions out there that this is simple, clean, and transparent. I'm a CPA, so I'm a numbers guy, and I'm a transparent person. So I just say, here it is. This is what we're buying it. This is what our rehab costs. This is what our fee is. You evaluate it. I find that if you can't make sense of our deals, you're not going to probably buy anything. You're not going to take action if you don't think our product is good. I feel that confident in it. I've been doing it too long.
Okay, we have a number of requests here to look at the paperwork. I will send that out to those that raise their hand. And there's two people here that also asked for a phone call. I will follow up with you within the hour. So as soon as we get off this webinar, I will reach out to those that we wish to have a conversation. Any other questions? There's nothing else in the answer box. Again, or the question box rather, we will get the video out. We will also get the paperwork out for those that requested it. And I think there's somebody here that wants to talk about fees, so I'll be calling you back within the hour. With that, I think we're done. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in here, so I think we're finished. I will leave this up, or Justin, leave your screen up for about 1 minute. So if folks want to write down our phone numbers and email addresses, you're more than willing to contact myself or Justin directly. We want to thank you for being here. We have another one of these on Thursday at the same time, Thursday at 10 a.m. If you wish to join us. We'd love to see you, and I'll look forward to talking to some of you today. Justin, I'll circle back with you, say in about an hour.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me on.